Midnight settles over Windsor like velvet stitched with needles of rain, yet Adelaide Cottage is wide awake. In the lamp-lit nursery, Prince Louis murmurs in uneasy dreams while Charlotte counts shadows on the ceiling, and George presses his cheek to the cool pane, staring beyond the copper beach into a darkness older than England. Their parents pace the corridor, whisper arguing over square footage, school runs, and the poison chalice of tradition. 4 bedrooms once felt like a fairy tale, now every corner seems to creak beneath the weight of destiny. In the walls, rumors travel faster than mice. The Waleses are hunting for a bigger nest, one crowned with turrets, or draping willows or both, and that search may drag dormant grudges back into daylight. The cottage that shrank overnight. Adelaide's yellow brick facade still glows with honeymoon memories. Louis's first toddling steps across the rose lawn, George's plastic knight's helm forgotten atop the sundial, Charlotte's rabbit cage trembling with the squeaks of Christmas morning surprise. Yet space bends under the physics of childhood. 3 growing heirs need bunk beds, no governess can patrol alone. Teenage years lurk like thunderclouds, promising locked doors, hoarded earbuds, friends clamoring for sleepovers, guitars vibrating across plaster. William stares at a floor plan spread across the kitchen island, sees doorways thinning into bottlenecks of adolescence, and feels the gravitational pull of every corridor he roamed as a boy, corridors long, wide, echoing with duty. Kate's worry is subtler, not square meters, but safe meters. Mobile phone zoom lenses now pierce the rhododendrons surrounding Adelaide. Drone cameras drift overhead like steel dragonflies, peering through lace curtains. The princess traces flight paths on her phone, calculating angles sunlight reflects off drone chassis. She wants a mote of privacy, not for herself. She accepted the fishbowl long ago, but for the children's small rebellions, muddy shoes on Ottoman silk, giggling midnight raids on the pantry, diary pages cluttered with hearts beside classmates' initials. Fork in the Great Park. 2 rival solutions loom out of Windsor Great Park, like chess pieces carved from history. Fort Belvedere, an octagonal tower brooding over pines and the legend of abdication, and Royal Lodge, a Stuart-era sprawl of 30 rooms currently barricaded by Prince Andrew's stubborn occupancy. Each house carries ghosts, each choice promises collateral damage. Fort Belvedere once echoed with the jazz of Edward VIII and Wallis Simpson, their flirtatious cocktails, their defiant waltz toward exile. The fort is smaller than Royal Lodge, 8 bedrooms, not 30, but bigger than a cottage, and steeped in a glamour so radioactive it could either singe or sanctify modern monarchy. Its lake mirrors clouds like sullen secrets. Its tennis courts still host phantom serves of princes past. Its library holds the faint smell of Cuban cigars and pre-war defiance. Yet to claim those keys is to stir the spectral press clipping. Monarch chooses love over crown, nation weeps. Royal Lodge, conversely, is the fortress of unspoken hardware, bulletproof sympathy glazing, reinforced gates, a cedar roof Prince Andrew refuses to surrender. 30 rooms sprawl like a rumor that will not shrink. Andrew claims the 75-year lease he signed with the Crown Estate is bulletproof. Lawyers mutter about break clauses. Courtiers mutter about public relations landmines. Moving the Waleses into Royal Lodge would require ejecting Andrew first, an eviction that could slash the last sinew of brotherly civility between Charles and his scandal-shrouded sibling. Bad blood already eddies through Windsor's plumbing. One twist of a wrench might flood the palace. Jenny Bond's whisper in the corridor. Veteran palace watcher Jenny Bond drops a tidbit on breakfast radio. William, she believes, will choose only what shelters his children's happiness. Her words slip like oil under every locked office door. The phrase children's happiness becomes both sword and shield, courtier currency in hushed strategy sessions. Yet happiness is subjective as moonlight. One advisor's idyllic garden is another's cursed estate. Newspaper op-eds congeal overnight. Will the Waleses resurrect the fortress of abdication? Will Andrew's Lodge become the house of next generation? Opinion polls you're like chasms. Seeds of bad blood. History's ledger shows no statute of limitations on Windsor quarrels. The Queen Mother feuded with Edward long after his exile. Charles bore Diana's heartbreak like a brand. Harry's memoir still hisses beneath every family reunion. Property disputes function as metaphors for wounds too tender to name. When George VI inherited Fort Belvedere after Edward's abdication, he locked the doors for decades, fearing the walls exhaled sedition. Now William considers unlocking them, while Andrew nails shutters to Royal Lodge. The king watches it all from Clarence House, eyes dark with the memory of cancer scans, duty roosting on tired shoulders. Charles must weigh two risks: alienate his heir by denying him breathing room, or alienate the realm by ceding a palace soaked in scandal, or worse, ignite press fury by evicting Andrew during a cost-of-living crisis. Camilla needs rosary beads between manicured fingers, sensing that whichever brother bleeds, the tabloids will savor the taste. Kate's chessboard. Behind Kensington's red brick facade, the princess sketches hour-by-hour routines: breakfast, Eton drop-off, piano, math, afternoon archery, bedtime stories. She overlays property maps, calculating commute arcs like a civil engineer. Adelaide to Eton is 9 miles of traffic choke points. Fort Belvedere to Eton slices that to 5 straightforward minutes. Precious if Charlotte forgets her science fair prototype. Royal Lodge sits equidistant, but Andrew's presence renders its drives thick with security chokeholds. Kate also catalogues intangible assets: Fort Belvedere's outdoor pool where summer science lessons can morph into watergun battles, tennis courts where she can rally with Charlotte, father-daughter fun without telephoto lenses, moated edges where paparazzi drones might crash harmlessly into duckweed. She envisions birthday parties on the fort's terrace, cupcakes disappearing beneath fireworks, ghosts of 1930s jazz replaced by Disney medleys. Yet she cannot ignore the echo of abdication inside the tower's stones. Could those ghosts smother her children's laughter? William's other crown. Duty has multiplied around William like dark satellites: investitures, earthshot initiatives, regimental colonelcies, state dinners where he stands in for a fatigued father. Each briefing ends with his private secretary reminding him Windsor needs a stable front. But stability is a mirage if his kids are boxed inside a showbark's cottage, chafing under camera glare. On nights when Kate finally sleeps, William wanders the garden, hearing the lone heron by the lake, asking its silent questions: was Edward wrong, or simply ahead of his time? Can a future king rescue a property from its curse? Or will the curse rescue itself by consuming the rescuer? He contemplates Andrew's digs. Royal Lodge is sumptuous, but politically radioactive. Eviction would paint William as new sheriff muscling out disgraced kin. He copies pros and cons into a leather notebook. The cons list bleeds across 2 pages in impatient fountain pen strokes. Andrew's last redoubt. Inside the lodge, Andrew stalks frescoed corridors, clutching legal documents like talismans. He recites the lease length, 75 years, like a psalm, reminds visitors of the millions he poured into roof repair, of the beams he sanded by hand. Sarah Ferguson defends him on podcasts. Beatrice and Eugenie post sunlit Instagram snaps at the lodge to declare occupancy. The Duke fancies himself immovable as Windsor stone. Yet each sunrise brings a fresh tabloid column tallying his security costs, each sunset another primetime panel debating his relevance. Royal Lodge shrinks under the magnifying lens of public scorn. The fort's reawakening. Meanwhile, hedges at Fort Belvedere quiver beneath new gardeners' shears. Courtiers deny any refurbishment, yet deliveries arrive: limestone tiles, iron gate hinges, crates labeled library dehumidifiers. Workmen speak in coded murmurs. The kids will love the turret, one says, unaware of the microphone inside a journalist's pocket. Rumor spreads that William secretly visited the fort at dawn, tracing finger along a windowsill where Edward once carved a crude heart. A palace spokesman calls the gossip creative fiction, but satellites detect a midnight convoy of household vans idling near the drawbridge. The fort's private tenants, the late Galen Weston's heirs, have quietly vacated, transferring personal furniture under tarpaulins. Empty rooms echo again, waiting either for the king's condemnation or for a new nursery's lullaby. Press frenzy ignites. Headlines screech. Wales family packs bags for haunted mansion. Andrew faces eviction by nephew. Breakfast shows host split-screen debates. Historians versus estate agents. Psychics claiming Edward's ghost blesses the move. Republican activists arguing no child should grow up in a symbol of monarchy's greatest sin. Twitter spaces swirl. #Fort or Lodge trends until algorithms buckle. Tabloid drones buzz low over Adelaide. Security tackles one pilot. Footage leaks nonetheless. Kate's silhouette reading bedtime tales by window. William loading bikes into Land Rover. A columnist decries invasion of privacy while profiting from it. The hypocrisy bruises the realm's conscience, yet clicks keep multiplying. Camilla's Kitchen Council. Queen Camilla convenes a war room not in a palace boardroom, but in Clarence House's kitchen, where teapots whistle louder than hierarchies. Present, Princess Anne hawk-eyed, unflappable, Sophie diplomatic glue, and Sir Edward Young institutional memory personified. They draft 3 scenarios. The Lodge Gambit, persuade Andrew to downsize to Frogmore Cottage with a golden handshake. Risk, public uproar over payoffs, fresh sibling schism. The Fort Redemption, rebrand Fort Belvedere as eco-renovation case study under William's Earthshot banner. Risk, critics equate refurb money with abdication glamour. The cottage expansion, secretly purchase neighboring Adelaide annexes, knit them into one estate. Risk, planning permission leaks, unstoppable speculation. Leaked minutes of this meeting reach Fleet Street within hours, igniting new think pieces. Nothing inside the monarchy stays secret long, unless sealed behind Andrew's iron gates, or behind Edward's ghost. Children caught in the crossfire. George overhears stray sentences, abdicating tower, bad blood, and asks his father if castles can hate people. William kneels eye level, says castles hold memories, not hatred, but memory can feel heavy. Charlotte, more inquisitive, Googles Fort Belvedere abdication on her tablet, recoils at black and white images of crowds sobbing outside Buckingham. She asks if Prince George will ever have to choose love over duty. The question drifts unresolved into plush hallway silence. Louis, blissfully unaware, marches his toy knights across a map of Windsor Great Park, reenacting sieges only he can see. Even toys sense property wars. February thaw, March freeze. Negotiations lurch like a carriage stuck in winter mud. Andrew hints at minor concessions. He may surrender one wing of Royal Lodge for the Wales's staff if security costs remain his. William's lawyers balk. Fortress mania elsewhere. Structural engineers declare Fort Belvedere's moat bridge safe enough for school minibuses. Kate tours the grounds with architect in tow, measuring sun angles for future vegetable gardens. The press photog perched in an oak tree misidentifies her as the female staffer, but Twitter corrects within minutes. Charles' calculus. The king's letterhead bears a decision neither camp relishes. He will not evict Andrew, not yet. Nor will he allow Fort Belvedere's history to smother his grandchildren's innocence. He proposes a conditional lease. William may occupy the fort only if the abdication deed is displayed in its library alongside an educational exhibit on constitutional duty. William must fund refurbishments privately. Andrew must accept external auditing of lodge repairs. The compromise is Solomon-like. Split the controversy so each sibling keeps skin, but loses face. William stares at the parchment bearing his father's seal. Behind him, George practices cello, each bow stroke vibrates father's sternum. Kate reads the conditions twice, senses the king's deeper plea. Bury ghosts by confronting them, not exiling them. She nods once. William signs. The move that isn't a move, yet. Trucks idle at dawn, tailgates yawning for Adelaide furniture. But the wheels remain chocked. Lawyers must finalize Crown Estate addenda, security teams must reroute alarm grids, archivists must encase the abdication deed in museum-grade glass. Weeks pass. The fort stands half-furnished, half-dreaming. Andrew's curtains at Royal Lodge remain defiantly drawn. Still, change creeps in. The moat swans glide newly fed by Charlotte's breadcrumbs. George nails a wooden plaque over the stables, Royal Reforge, no abdications allowed. Louis discovers echo acoustics in the turret staircase, his laughter spiraling upward like uncaged skylarks. Press drones capture none of it. The palace's new no-fly zone is patrolled by hawks trained to shred quadcopters. Privacy in monarchy is never absolute, but sometimes it wears talons. Epilogue written in lamplight. Summer approaches. If the paperwork clears, the Wales family will shift beds and bookcases across Great Park before autumn term. If Andrew files injunctions, the timeline melts. If Charles's health dips, Regency whispers might stall everything. Meanwhile, Windsor's walls absorb tension like limestone sponges, exhaling when tourists pose for selfies, inhaling when courtiers exchange glances. In the twilight between rumor and fact, one certainty remains: houses in the House of Windsor are never just bricks. They are stage sets where loyalty, ambition, and childhood collide. Whether William's children grow tall beneath Adelaide's climbing roses, Fort Belvedere's Gothic battlements, or Royal Lodge's wisteria awnings, the echoes of ancient blood feuds will hum through their lullabies. Yet perhaps lullabies evolve. Perhaps Charlotte's tennis serve, arcing across a once-cursed court, will write a new melody over centuries-old discord. Perhaps George's cello will drown out abdication whispers, Louis's laughter will cleanse oak panels steeped in scandal. Or perhaps the houses themselves will choose airs, the way trees choose birdsong. For now, the keys to both mansions glint on a velvet tray in a guarded office. One set smells faintly of cedar and denial, the other of jasmine and memory. William and Kate stand poised to grasp whichever future the crown, the press, and the past allow. In their silence you can almost hear the click of locks yet to turn, and the hushed heartbeat of a dynasty deciding how much space a modern fairy tale truly needs.